What's going on, guys? I'm Man Advantage, and welcome back to another NHL 24 video. Before you spend your coins, time, and energy on acquiring and upgrading X Factors, it's important to know which ones are worth it. In today's video, we'll be diving into exactly that.
The main question is, are X Factors worth it? Well, the answer is it depends. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down all of the questions you have surrounding X Factors.
The most frequently asked question I get every single year is, should you buy X Factors in the auction house? My opinion on this has changed even more dramatically year over year. It is a hard pass. Do not do it. Unless you are flipping these cards at your own risk, these prices fluctuate quite a bit and they tend to go down pretty rapidly. I would pass it up. The only time I would buy a player in here is if you know their value. For example, Connor McDavid's going for around 1.2 million coins and clearly is the only X Factor that I can 100% assure you is going to be endgame. That being said, coins are key. If you pull him, I would trade him in, put him on the auction house, get your 1.2 million coins and go about your business. You could do a lot more with those coins than rather having them locked up in that X Factor all year long, especially if you have the chance to pull him untradeable, which we'll cover what that looks like here in just a bit. One of the X Factors I did pull early on, I got really lucky here earlier this year, was I pulled Mitch Marner. I was able to sell him for 200,000 coins, and I was able to make almost 2 to 3 team builders off of that, as well as flipping some other things. So for me, I much rather have 3 87s on my team than a maxed out 85 overall Mitch Marner at this stage of the game. Rather than buying X Factors, there's multiple ways that you can acquire them through the X Factor sets. The first one is going to be completed via the Hut Moments. If you complete all of the X Factor moments, you'll receive Hut collectibles, which then could be exchanged for an X Factor choice pack. Your next option is turning in 50 gold players for an X Factor choice pack. And lastly, if you get 2 X Factors out of that you don't want, all you need is one more, which again, if you pre-order the game, you got a free X Factor in that pack. You could trade in all 3 of those X Factors for another choice pack and another shot at Connor McDavid. One of the biggest changes that we saw to X Factors this year is now there's one for every single team. Please, if you have a favorite player, by all means, go ahead and make them. But the majority of these, in my opinion, are not worth upgrading. Let's talk about the Blackhawks, Seth Jones. For example, he's fully maxed out at an 83 overall, and you also want to consider the abilities on these. Bouncer is not one that I ever activate, let alone I'm going to be activating at any time, even in the beginning of the game. Aside from abilities, you have to consider the longevity and the upgradability of this Seth Jones card. He's an 83 overall right now. I know EA started out a lot lower this year than they ever have in years past, but he's going to have numerous upgrades, which also means numerous coins and power-up collectibles, which can now this year also be used for MSPs. To me, I would steer clear of any card at this level. Simultaneously, as I just talked about earlier in the video with coins, if you looked at his X Factor right now, there's only one up for 250,000 coins. That is an absolute highway robbery. I would not pay that in the slightest. Even if he's listed at 100,000 coins, I wouldn't pay it. If you're looking at these X Factors, and again, if you're flipping them, I would look at the price for at least a day to see what they're actually going for and selling for. Otherwise, I would steer clear of this in any capacity. Besides the first month of the year, these are the X Factors that are worth upgrading, in my personal opinion. Connor McDavid is in a league of his own. Right behind him is Jack Eichel. Those are the two that if I get their X Factor, I will have them on my team all year, unless, of course, they turn them into Team of the Year cards. Mitch Marner, Jack Hughes, Jason Robertson, and Matthew Tkachuk are the only other 4 that I would potentially consider having on my team throughout the rest of the year if I got their X Factor. Any of the other ones, I will pass on. The only reason you should have at least 1 or 2 of these on your team right now, 2 is the absolute cap, is for the X Factor challenges. Again, for the upgrade cost that it's going to build these players, I much rather have you put those towards team builders, which at the very minimum are going to give you an 84 overall player, which a lot of these X Factors are capped out at right now, or get yourself an icon choice back by trading in 40 gold players. Again, there's a lot of other ways you should be spending your coins, at least early on, in my opinion. That's it for me on this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you love NHL 24 content, make sure you go ahead and click like, and I'd love to have you stick around here with me. Make sure you go ahead and click subscribe. Again, I'm Man Advantage, and I'll see you boys next time.